Every town has its dark side, and today's story is a chilling example. At its core, it's about a man who by day was a respected businessman, a loving husband, and a father of three. But by night was something else entirely, a cold-blooded serial killer who haunted the streets of Indianapolis for years. Authorities believe he murdered at least 24 men, maybe more, and for over a decade, no one even suspected a thing. It's the tale of Herbert Baumeister, Fox Hollow Farm, and the mysterious I-70 Strangler. This story is so wild it sounds like it was pulled straight out of a horror movie, but it's terrifyingly real. On July 22, 1994, 33-year-old Roger Goodlett left his mother's house for a night out. He was headed to a gay bar on 16th Street in Indianapolis. No one thought twice until he didn't come home. The next morning, his family reported him missing, but the police barely reacted. Unfortunately, Roger wasn't the first man to vanish from that area, and he wouldn't be the last. For over a decade, young gay men had been disappearing from Indianapolis and surrounding areas. Some were found dead. Most were never seen again. Patterns emerged, but not enough to connect all the dots. And with the prevailing attitudes of the time, the cases weren't exactly a top priority. Many in law enforcement believed the men had simply run off to bigger cities to live more openly. The sad truth? Few people cared enough to dig deeper. But that would change in 1994. That same year, a man named Tony Harris came forward with a story that would blow the case wide open. He told police about meeting a man who called himself Brian Smart at a gay bar in downtown Indianapolis. Brian claimed he was a landscaper from Ohio, prepping a vacant house for new owners. He invited Tony back to the home for drinks and a swim. Tony accepted. The property was huge and elegant, complete with a creepy indoor pool and several mannequins posed around it. When Tony asked about them, Brian replied, "They keep me company." What followed was horrifying. Brian introduced the idea of erotic asphyxiation, convincing Tony to let him try it on him. But when Brian took it too far, Tony realized he was in serious danger. He faked passing out, and it saved his life. Tony escaped and told the police. He believed Brian had something to do with Roger Goodlett's disappearance. But when police ran the name Brian Smart, nothing came up. Months later, Tony spotted the same man again, followed his car, and got his license plate. Police finally identified Brian Smart as a 48-year-old man named Herbert Richard Baumeister. Baumeister didn't fit the profile. He was a local businessman, the owner of 2 successful thrift stores, a husband, and a father. But his respectable image was a mask. Born in 1947 in Indianapolis, Herb had a troubled childhood. He was socially awkward, fascinated with death, and obsessed with bodily fluids. At one point, he even urinated on his teacher's desk, twice. His father, a respected doctor, had him evaluated. Herb was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder, but he never received proper treatment. Somehow, he grew up, got married, and started a business. In 1988, he and his wife, Julie, bought Fox Hollow Farm, a massive estate with over 18 acres, a private pond, and an indoor pool. It was the perfect place for a family or for something much darker. Over time, financial troubles strained Herb's marriage. Julie began spending weekends away, while Herb claimed to be working late. In reality, he was frequenting gay bars, picking up young men, and bringing them back to Fox Hollow Farm. There, he'd drug them, strangle them, often with a hose, and burn or bury their bodies around the property. His kids unknowingly played above shallow graves. And no one had a clue. It was only when Julie remembered their son once bringing home a human skull from the woods and connected that with what police told her that she agreed to let them search the property. On June 24, 1996, investigators finally searched Fox Hollow Farm. What they found was beyond disturbing. Thousands of bone fragments, burnt remains, and body parts. They identified 12 victims and counting. Some of the known victims included Roger Goodlett, Richard Hamilton, Jeffrey Jones, identified in 2024 through forensic genealogy, Michael Kern, Stephen Hale. All of them were young men, most between 20 and 35. Many were last seen at gay clubs around Indianapolis. Herb Baumeister had a type, and a terrifyingly consistent method. But here's where it gets even darker. Investigators noticed that Baumeister's killings only began after 1991, the year he bought Fox Hollow Farm. But what about all the other disappearances in the 1980s? Turns out there was already a serial killer on the radar. The I-70 Strangler, named for leaving his victims near Interstate 70. The MO was nearly identical. Strangulation, young gay male victims, dumped bodies in remote areas. The murders stopped around the same time Herb settled into Fox Hollow Farm. Did he simply move his killing ground from the woods to his backyard? Many investigators think so. While Baumeister has never been officially confirmed as the I-70 Strangler, the similarities are hard to ignore. When Herb realized the police were closing in, he fled to Ontario, Canada. In July 1996, he was found dead at Pinery Provincial Park, having taken his own life with a .357 Magnum. His suicide note made no mention of the murders, just apologies for personal failures. To this day, authorities continue to investigate his property. In May 2024, 4 more DNA profiles were recovered, believed to be unidentified victims. Over 10,000 bone fragments have been found, and there may still be more buried beneath that land. Herbert Baumeister was a monster hiding in plain sight, a seemingly normal man living a nightmare double life, taking innocent lives in the shadows. His story is a terrifying reminder that evil doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it wears a friendly smile. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Crime Watcher 101. If you want to hear more stories like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that follow button. And remember, the next chilling tale might come from your town. Stay safe out there.